All right, my friends, it's Hank here, and I'm trying to go over some technical stuff today. And I've been doing a little bit of reading, and I'm really trying to figure out what would be the best way to proceed in so far as pulling out the right type of explosives and making it compatible, balanced in a way that it's going to be balanced with better explosives redo, and it's going to fit in with better locational damage, which better explosives redo is kind of a subset of that. And then to be able to incorporate the scripts from the Grenade Expansion Pack 2, because there's only a few explosives that I really need out of it, but they need to be balanced properly. And most specifically, that being the flashbang, because Breslin's flash functions in a way that would be very, very good if it's melded with the flashbang grenade from the Grenade Expansion Pack 2. Because what I'm trying to create is an incendiary grenade that will increase in power as you get more ranks in chemistry. So it's kind of like a Molotov cocktail that's thrown like a regular grenade, a regular time grenade, and has a slightly lower grenade arc, more akin to something like a plasma grenade, because each different grenade has a different kind of feel to it as you throw them. So what I've done is I've gone into my mod Nexus mod my mod manager here, and I downloaded the Grenade Expansion Pack 2 and XLL nukes for the nuclear explosion overhaul. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to examine what it looks like in Fallout 4 Edit. Now, I've been doing a lot of different reading and a lot of different ways to do it, whether it could be done in the creation kit, because initially I thought it would be a good idea maybe to extract the assets specifically, which I've done. So this would be the flashbang grenade with all the assets specifically tailored to it. I just don't know how to combine that into a single plugin. It might be something that's done through Creation Kit, but I'm not sure. And these are the other extracted grenades from the Grenade Expansion Pack 2, as well as the scripts and such. So when you break apart the when you actually break apart the whole mod, this is what you end up with. So I just have that in here so I could examine that content. And I just don't know if there's anything I can do with it, because I haven't explored much in the way of Creation Kit. So let's take a look inside Fallout 4 Edit. Because what I'm wondering is if I can pull the Grenade Expansion Pack 2 and like possibly create a new record to create a plugin through Fallout 4 Edit. Or if it's smarter to do it perhaps in a different way. So any comments that you leave, definitely would go a long way to kind of helping me sort out what the best way to proceed is when modifying explosives or even creating new ones and ones with different effects. So we've got the Grenade Expansion Pack here. And what I'm specifically interested in, obviously, is the flashbang. So there's the weapon. Those are the base formulas. And it runs its own script. So override projectile, we're going to have to go up into projectile and look. And that's going to be in stun grenade. Because the dependencies in a see, stun grenade explosion gives you the muzzle flash light. It's a lobber. It gives you the kind of the gravity of how the grenade is thrown. Here's the it's basically given us, I think, what the explosion looks like. And it's given us the gas canister as the actual projectile. So this has given us the perhaps it's giving us the model. It's not what I have under Flash. Or see, model file name, set dressing canister for the NIF. Is that the mesh? See, I'd probably have to break this apart with the extractor as well, just to get a better look at that. Okay, so I just don't know enough about it right at this point. So maybe we'll look at it, because I don't really want to have to reinvent the wheel, you know what I'm saying? So let's look at the explosion. And that's the stun grenade explosion. Or is it flash? Maybe that's my mistake here. Difference between flash and stun. Flash grenade explosion. Here we go. So, effects, explosive projectile explosion, NIF. And then you get deeper into the enchantment. Gives you that much light. And then the FX explosion, layer B. So sound effect, I believe that's the FX data that I have here. Probably that. Flash grenade ring is probably the secondary on that. SNDR, which is probably what, sound effects. So we have flash grenade SDR. So flash grenade bring wave. So I was correct in that assumption. So anytime you're dealing with explosives, there's just so many different dependencies. I mean, this grenade expansion pack really is a work of art. No question about it. And reverse engineering stuff, I think, is the best way to learn. So let's go back and look at the flash grenade explosion. So we've determined that this is a standard. I think is what? Impact data set, perhaps? No. Here we go. It's image space adapter. So it's basically creating I suppose, its own lighting. This is its own light effect and how long it lasts. And the tints. Very impressive. So for 6 seconds it creates that level of luminosity. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. So and I always thought that from the grenade expansion pack too, the flashbang grenade was probably the most interesting grenade that I had ever seen in creation that's ever been created. I thought it was one of the most unique and interesting mods that I've ever run across. So let's examine the explosion just a little bit more. So we've determined the flash large is its own image space modifier. We'll take a look at the enchantment because that's going to show us the effect, and I suspect that's where we're going to find the script. The light nuke is a standard, and then like I said, we've already found the FX for that, which is unique again. Now, force and damage I don't think is important as important with the flash grenade explosion. For all I really care, the damage could be nothing. It's the blinding, disorienting effect that it creates and that extra large stagger. Okay, so let's take... All right, I got a comment over here. Is it hard to get things in line with better locational damage that are more unique, like Blazrail or... You know, I don't think so, because basically when you're getting hit with energy weapons in better locational damage, especially radiation, because you're in better locational damage, your hit points are only going up at a very small rate. Like your character basically starts and ends the game with virtually the same amount of hit points. So to just take a couple of radioactive blasts is going to kill your character. Like, I find that radiation weapons are far more dangerous, far more lethal to me, my player, wielded by the enemies than it would be for me to wield against them. Because it's like, 2 or 3 hits. If you're not armored against it, you're just annihilated. In this case, they have different models, like a flamer, explosive disc type thing. I don't see where the model would have any effect on damage. Better locational damage is almost a complete overhaul of the way that you're taking damage and dealing damage to your enemies, so it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio. It's kind of thinking like The damage that you can deal to them, they can deal to you. And it's when you look through better locational damage, you're also looking at the caliber. Typically, if you're examining bullets, mostly, and shotgun spreads, because smaller calibers, let's see, the deadly effect, I like the deadly effect on me, especially because I'm planning on replacing VATS with VAS, which is slow time alternative. Don't know anything about that. It's an interesting concept, an interesting thought. I'll have to give it some thought. But that's a little bit outside of my realm of experience and direction that I'm going in at this moment. Basically, I want to make the game into a survival first-person shooter, but it's the energy weapons with explosive fire modes that I'm wondering about balancing. The energy weapons I find are largely balanced well enough on their own. It's the ballistics characteristics that are important, like how much power is a 308 round going to lose beyond 3,600 foundation units. Okay, cool. You're not going to have to worry much about balance when it comes to energy weapons. All right. So, moving on with the flash grenade stuff here. Now, Greslin's PA NPC comes with a special type of flash in the way that it distracts, which I created a patch for. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah. Alright, so Greslin's does its own thing as well. I reduce the weight on it a little bit. But in this case, all I've done is tagged it and created dependencies. So you can see the master file and then the second master file that makes these dependent. So the difference between what I want to do with the grenade expansion pack and the way that Greslin's is pulled out is this is nothing but a patch that's reliant on these masters. The difference with the flash grenade is I basically want to pull it out as a standalone. Like, I could load the whole grenade expansion pack somewhere higher in my load order list. I know this. And then pull well, I don't know this, but I think that I could do that and then just pull the assets and create a new record without dependencies. The issue is how intricate all these dependencies are and how easy it would be to miss the dependencies. So I'm just curious, is it smarter to make the mod through a different program and safer? Because in Fallout 4 Edit, if you make a mistake here, you can really find a good way to crash your game forever. So that's why I always take that extra step. And really, I'm kind of just exploring how intricate the explosives are in the Grenade Expansion Pack 2. I just cannot, I just can't use all of these explosives. I need an incendiary and I need the flashbang most specifically. And then what I would do probably with some radiation stuff is apply Greslin's, the way that the PA NPCs avoid the radioactive field, I think is very cool, because it's like a area denial effect. Let's see. All the very script intensive mods like PA NPC, if you run something like Sim Settlements, you're going to see how the scripts. Fine. Yeah, I've had no problem. Greslin's paid a great deal of attention to detail. He's actually got it so you can enable an option that makes it compatible with Sim Settlements. And I ran it with Sim Settlements, but I just don't build enough settlements for that to be a big part of my game. I would rather apply my processing power towards, SKK stalkers and scripts and stuff. I mean, I have a great graphics card and a pretty ridiculous amount of RAM, so I just don't use two together. I mean, I think when it comes to modding, less is more. So just to focus on the things that where you really want to go. Like, yes, you can do it. It didn't fall apart on me. It worked just fine. But if you're going with a tactical type sim, just go with the tactical type sim. And what I do is I just download pre-constructed settlements that look really good from FemShipping. Thinking of having a computer running for larger sim settlements and big fights. I think you really are getting into risky territory with that, because that's a hell of a lot that's got to run. And I had freezes. I found where I was running into freezes is where I had enabled PA NPCs like external spawns and patrols and SKK stalkers, and that was too much. And it caused freezes. So I just use SKK stalkers, period. And I've had no problems since then. I mean, they accomplish the same thing. I like to rely on PA NPC for the AI. I wouldn't use arbitration. Jack Arbiter, that was one of the first ones. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's far better than arbitration. Leaps and bounds beyond arbitration. Arbitration, Jack Arbiter did that a long time ago. That was the first AI mod that I used. And what you really need to take a look at, if you've looked at any of my videos in Season 5, each one of the... and Greslin did a great PA NPC article that you can pull up, but each different type of enemy has a way that it thinks. It thinks about courage, it thinks about focus fire, it thinks about having the high ground, it thinks about light and shadow and stealth. I mean, it's a fantastic mod, and it doesn't conflict. I think you'll find you'll have more problems with arbitration than you would with PA NPC. And anything that you don't want in PA NPC, everything is right there in the mod configuration menu just to disable it. I mean, really, I think PA NPC is probably one of the most impressive mods that I've seen, and it's definitely the most impressive AI mod. No question, in my mind. And I've used several to try and create like a random experience in the field where I could be surprised at any time by hostile enemies that would employ a variety of different tactics. I could probably extol the virtues of PA NPC for a long time and do quite a bit of reading on it. and actually, discuss how some of the different enemies and things react. But I'm still testing the hell out of it. And when I'm testing it in the field, I just don't have time to talk about it and think about it because my character's life is in danger. I mean, it's no joke. They outflank you, they outthink you. It's awesome. All right, let's see here. I'm going to need to grab a little water here. I didn't expect to have to do this much talking here. Give me just a second. All right. So, I don't know if I want to pull assets. And if anybody knows if it's better just to maybe use the creation kit with the assets that I've extracted, or use Fallout 4 Edit and create a new record. I just really, when I don't know what I'm doing, especially with something as, if it just comes to tagging or modifying damages or something like that, I'm happy to do it in Fallout 4 Edit. I do it all the time. But with the level of complexity that I'm finding with the Flashbang Grenade of the Grenade Expansion Pack 2, I'm just too concerned. I have a great deal of concern. Let's just say that, to get right in here and pull all the dependencies, because you can break your game in Fallout 4 Edit. There's no question about that. Now, XXL nukes explosion has changed a whole lot of things here too. So, creating a more powerful explosion for the mini nukes and having a persistent rad fields. And this is along the line of what I was thinking to incorporate along with the way that PANPC, the enemies want to avoid the radiation fields. So I can basically create the tools that I'm trying to create for better locational damage. To create this balance is kind of like area denial explosives. So if I create a field of fire, create a field of radiation, it forces my enemies to adapt in a different way. Or if I use something like, if I'm running across heavily armored enemies, I might want to flashbang a room before I go in to attack, because in PANPC, their aim is much better than vanilla. They'll hit you, and you might not want to grenade the whole room, or even if you did grenade the whole room, it might not be enough, or you might want to select targets. It just gives you, it just gives me another tactical sort of way to approach things tactically without having to wear power armor. And then to kind of do a similar thing with remote explosives. So I've gotten a little bit off topic here because Jay Smith popped into the chat over here, so I'll probably have to return to this a little bit later. But if anybody has any thoughts on the smartest way to create flashbangs with that same type of script that's in the Grenade Expansion Pack 2, leave me a comment, That would be awesome. Greatly appreciated. It's been Hank. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm going to do a little bit of gaming now. See how that goes. I'm not making a whole lot of progress trying to mod and live stream, live chat. Doesn't work so well. Catch you on the flip side.